Good
Okay.
afternoon. This is the Trails Committee meeting on March 20th, 2025, calling the meeting to order at 7:41. Let's do roll call. When I call your name, let me know that you're here. Will Warren,
Here.
Satyendra Sharma,
Yeah,
Kat McKee here. Great. So apologies for starting a little late. It was a miscommunication that I created about the meeting date, but we do have quorum, so we'll continue. Um, okay, so Asante, you probably need me to send you the agenda.
yeah, I'm fine with. I mean, yeah, that's fine. I mean, I can use the last minutes
Yeah,
and
actually, I
then
can't find the Word version of it. If you, I can send you
no,
the
that's fine.
PDF if that's
I mean, we can go ahead because I don't think there is much change in the
correct.
lineup.
Correct. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna do this anyway. Okay. Okay, great. So, couple things. So I sent around the minutes. I will pull them up so that we can look at them together and see if we have any questions from the 27th. Okay. So let me share. Are you still hearing me okay?
Yes,
Yes.
Can you hear? Can you hear me okay?
yes,
Yes.
Can you hear me? No?
yes.
You can?
Yes. Yes.
All right, I'm getting, you can?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just getting a message that audio was off. Okay, great. So I'm gonna share screens. Okay, so here are the minutes. Thank you for drafting those, Sati. And is the Word version showing up? Great. Okay, so let me know when you if you have any questions or edits.
No.
Okay, well,
There's no one thing. This a grammatical thing. Will Warren moved motion. I mean, it's the move to approved, approved.
oh,
Demotion. Okay, demotion.
moved the motion to.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's nothing.
Thank you, thank you. Okay. So does someone want to make a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
Yes. I move to approve the minutes as amended.
Great, and do we want a second?
I second it.
Thank you. And all in favor, Will Warren,
Aye.
Kat McKee, aye. Satya
And
Sharma.
yes, I.
Okey doke. So I'll get those submitted. Thank you very much, people. Okay, next up, Peninsula Trail Phase 1. So Phase 1 is the Mass Trails Grant Project Update, signage, and a grant extension and paving. So it's actually no longer a grant extension. I need to fix that on the agenda, which I'll do for next time. But we have heard from our paving company. So they reached out to ask to set up a schedule. Want to reach out and timeline. We're now starting to book at the end of March, early April. I'd love to get the dates set. Let me know what you're thinking. Happy to help. Okay, so my question, and I think what we should be asking is, we needed when the initial project was getting kicked off last year, we needed the temperature to be 40 or above. And now that we're coming out of winter, I'm curious about what does the ground temperature need to be? So if it's still cold and, maybe it's not snowy, but still chilly, like we want to make sure that the temperature is in the right area. They're a very professional company, so I'm not I'm sure it's going to be fine. But I want to go ahead and ask them that question, and then we'll go ahead, reach out to DCR MWA and let them know that we're thinking about end of March, early April, or in April, and see if there's any issues getting started. So we'll get that on the book. So that'll be exciting. That's the parking paving. So any questions?
Nope.
Concerns? Okay, so I'm just writing a note, parking schedule with asphalt. Okay, so signage, I've not made progress either. I've not heard back from our the contact that we reached out to for historical information on Native Americans. So I'm gonna call them in the next week, over the next week, and try to do another email, because if they're not gonna be a contact for us, then we need to find a contact to be able to get some information. And we wanna go ahead and get that started in a pretty swift way so that we can, get that taken care of this year, because the grant has to all of it has to be done this year, no extensions, et cetera. So like for next meeting, I'd like to come in. We had some draft language for our signage, but we want to make sure that we've incorporated the new stuff. So what I'm gonna have to do is start sketching that out. Sati, you at one point had volunteered to kind of work with me on that. Are you still interested in
Yes,
serving
yes.
in that capacity where we
Yep.
could meet in between our meetings and just talk about some stuff and bring that to the committee? So I can reach out to you on that level.
Sure.
Great. Okay,
Can you still hear me?
are you there, Will?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, okay. Did you say something?
No, I just want to make sure you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, so that's the phase one, and then phase two. So with phase two, we had MWRA had last asked a question of our Beals and Thomas Dave Lapointe, and asked about getting a sketch of the bridge. Dave responded, but they had not heard back from MWRA. So now that it's been a couple weeks, he's going to, I've recommended that per his question is like, should we proceed? And I said, just let's send one more email that says, hey, MWRA, we are ready to move forward with the bid, and we're going to do so unless we hear from, please feel free to reach out with any questions, additional questions, so that we have that last step that we've documented, that we've reached out to get that final, if there are any questions about the bridge height or any of that. So that's,
Okay.
and I also reached out to Melanie with the town to ask for the terms and conditions that need to go in the bid document. The town has certain criteria that needs to be embedded in the bid document itself. It's standard contract language. So I've asked Melanie to send that to us, updated version. So the bid document should be coming out in the next couple of weeks. I gave Melanie and Travis, excuse me, I gave them both a heads up that the bid document would be coming in, that we're going to start that process. So we're going to need Travis, the recreation director, to review that, as well as Melanie and Mark, who are involved with the procurement. And we'll need to get an updated timeline on what the legal notice gets to posted, and how we do that. So by the time we have our next meeting, we should have that timeline outlined. So I'll circle back with everybody on that. Let me just write that down. Timeline. Okay. Any questions on phase two? Actually, I have one other piece. We received an email from AMC. Amber Stearns is the Bay Circuit Trail coordinator. She was curious if we needed any volunteers for that small trail that we're trying to build. So she just reached out this week, and I'm going to go ahead. She was the one we were coordinating with to see if we could get some volunteers to help. And so I'm going to go ahead and ask her and say, yes, we would love some help to build that small trail out. And if you guys are available to assist with that, we can go ahead and get that project on the books, because I think if we could go ahead and build out, because we have everything in place to do so, if we could go ahead and build out the natural surface trail, then we could get that. Actually gives the construction people an access to where the bridge and the where the boardwalk's going to go, and then that will be helpful in advancing the project. So I'll reach out to her and see if we can get something on the books. Okay.
Okay.
That's good news. That was exciting. I was happy to hear from her on that. Okay. So that's phase two. Next up is the volunteer recruitment. So I told you we had someone reach out, and I reached out after the last meeting to ask what her interest was, Angel. She's like, I'm still interested in supporting the trails, but unfortunately I plan to be out of the country for the next couple of weeks. I realize it's a bit out due to your availability, so maybe the week of March 24th. So that would be next week. I will reach out. So she didn't really clarify whether she wanted to be a volunteer or just do, some participation. So I will reach out to her next week and find out what her interest level is. And if it is to be a Trails Committee member, then we'll, kind of invite her to come in and talk to her and stuff and see how see what her interest is there. That's all I have on that piece. Okay. No additional information on closing out outstanding projects. But I will say that Home Depot has finished cutting all the lumber for the bridge and boardwalk. No, forgive me, for the boardwalks that we're gonna do throughout town, the lumber that we bought in advance. So that's gonna get delivered next Friday at the cemetery. So I have a window of time that they're gonna deliver. I'm gonna coordinate with DPW. I'll reach out to them tomorrow to say, hey, we're getting this delivery. And they said we could put some of our stuff in their area near the trails shed. And I think what we'll need to do is I think I had a tarp and I think Tom may have had a tarp. We'll kind of tarp that stuff up because we're not going to be using it immediately, but we will start to put the feelers out to some of the scouts and let them know that we have some opportunities here to build some boardwalks in town if they're interested. So that's good news.
So next week they are coming.
Yeah, they're delivering on Friday,
Mm.
whatever that date is, the 28th. Yep. So that's that. So Tom was working on the the DECR work plan, still not getting there to it yet. Hopefully we'll have something next week. And that's it for that. I don't have any additional business related to maintenance or Trail Butters website. I did ask for an accounting of our trails budget so that we can understand what remaining funds we have. Will, were you reimbursed? Did you get reimbursed for the?
I haven't found it yet, but don't worry, I'll get it.
Okay, well, let me know if you now, is it that did they mail it to you or is it in the town?
I may have misplaced it, which is, I'll figure it out. If not, I'll ask him for another check.
Yeah, let me know and I can, while I'm working with them, I can ask them and let them know. So if that's helpful.
Okay,
Okay, so yeah, so I asked for an accounting so we know what our budget is. Remember, we had a little bit larger of a budget this year because of mowing. So we want to see what we could take advantage of before June 30th and well before then. And I need to also talk to Travis to see what our next budget, if they did any changes to it or what the next fiscal year budget is going to be, so we understand how that's going to work into what we need and our mowing needs. And then I will also coordinate with DPW because they have the contract for mowing, and I just want to make sure that the additional piece that we had that stated in their contract that they mow up into the Westboro line is being taken care of. And so if they have any issues getting in or around some of the gates on the open channel and how that went, then we'll have a better plan for this year. And that will work nicely into our work plan that we need for DCR anyway, getting that all set up. And then we should also next meeting go ahead and start talking about how we want to do our bench installations and kind of have maybe put some work parties on the books. And now that it's lighter after work, a little bit, that's kind of a easier way sometimes doing an hour here or an hour there. I don't know how you guys feel, those who have, full-time jobs, rather than spending a full weekend. Sometimes we could do the full weekend, but I think it's sometimes easier to get a little bit done during the week so that we don't have to spend weekend days doing stuff like putting things together. But we'll talk about that in the next meeting and see what looks good for everybody. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Yeah, so I guess, we need to talk a little bit about how we want our programming to go this year. Like, do we want to do yoga on the trails again? Do we want to do some go ahead and start planning some guided hikes, things like that. And so if you guys want to start thinking about that. And then I think both of you had volunteered to help find a resource for map making. Again, we have some budget to spend. Okay, so if we have to use some of that, we might want to go ahead and think about that might be an option for us to, if we don't need to apply it for mowing, it might be something we can apply to somebody to help us make some maps.
Okay,
Okay, so if you guys by next meeting could come back with some ideas, that'd be great. Maybe some resources. I'm sure the web could help find a few things like that, or even reach out to other local trails committees to kind of find out what others are doing. Maybe they have recommendations. That might be a great local resource, like Ashland Trails Committee. That might be an option. They're very open about and very active. So that might be something we could do. And then let's talk about next meeting already. If we targeted, so early April, like the 10th of April,
10th of April.
Uh,
That's fine.
how does that look for people?
It's okay.
hold on just a minute.
Okay.
Tenth of April. It would be at 7:30.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and put that meeting in. I'll definitely feel better by then. And we'll have some good updates. And by then we should be bid close to underway, if not already underway. So that should be that. I'll send out a calendar invite. And we'll go from there. Any questions or thoughts on anything else?
No,
All right.
No.
Thank you. Sorry for the mess up, Sachi. Thanks for your flexibility. And if you have any questions about the map making in the meantime, certainly feel free to reach out.
Yeah.
And I'll be in touch with you to schedule something.
Okay.
Talk about signage.
And we are adjourning the meeting.
Yeah, we're going to adjourn. I'm
I
want to make a motion to adjourn at 7:58 p.m.
I second the Will Warren.
Okay, I'll move that we adjourn at 7:58 and Will seconded it. Let's do a roll call. Will Warren,
Aye.
Satyendra Sharma,
Yes.
and Kat McKee. Yes, great. Thank you all, and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Okay.
You too. Feel better.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.